Hi guys, so in this video we'll continue to look at our calculator program. So we are going to design first of all the menu, and then from the menu we're going to write some procedures and functions that we'll use to perform some operations for our calculator. So let's define the menu. So the menu, I'm going to make it as a function, and as usual we'll have the decorations around our menu. So I'm just going to put some stuff like that and just say menu, and then go ahead and decorate it like that. You guys can decorate something of your own as well. You don't have to use the asterisks. You can use something else. So let's put something maybe like some equal sign maybe. It doesn't have to be like this, but why not? And just put something like that. So when you run this at the bottom, right now it cannot run because we haven't called the menu. So I'm going to call the menu at the bottom so that I can just be testing what I'm doing. And then if you run it, so I have the menu decoration displayed like that. So I'm going to now put the different options that I want to put on the menu. So I'm going to go for one. I'm going to call this as add, and then I'll copy and replicate this a couple of times for the other menu operations. Okay, you're supposed to have quite a number of them. I think you said you should have like 10 of them, 4, 5, 6, and 7, then 8. So I'm going to end on 8, but you guys can go beyond that. So this is subtract, and then this is going to be divide, then this is going to be multiply, and then we'll make this to be square root, and then maybe we'll find these as exponential maybe. I'm just guessing some. This is area, let's say, okay, let's just say area of square, since we have to be specific. And if we have the area, maybe let's find the perimeter, perimeter of what? Circle maybe. So here we're going to use a lot of mathematics to determine some of the areas for square and perimeter. So if you run our program, we can see that the menu is displayed like that, and this looks good. So now we need to ask the user to give us their menu option. So I'm going to say selected is equal to option, rather not option. I wanted to say option input, and then you're going to say, please, let's say select let's say the menu operation, or not the menu operation. Let's just say select the operation. And then let's put 1 to maybe 1 to 8, since I have 1 to 8 options. And then yeah, and then what we're going to do now, since I want to collect a number, so I'm expecting the user to enter either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to convert the result into a number like that, and then I'm going to now decide what operation the person was able to select. So, but before I decide that, what I'm going to do is to create some menu operations or some functions that are going to be used for that, for each of these operations. I'm going to create a function for it. So I'll define a function for add like that, and then probably I'll just put pass inside. Then I'm going to copy this and then replicate it for the other ones as well. So this for subtract, for divide, for multiply, for what was the other one? Maybe square root, then exponential, area, and add. So let's see if we have enough. I'll call this as sub, then I'll call this as divide, then I'll call this as multiply, multiply, and then I'll call this as square root. I'm going to put a separated there between square and root. So I'll put an underscore, and then I'll call this one as exponential. And then finally, the last two, this will be the area, and this will be the perimeter. Okay, so I have my functions, so I don't need this one since there are just 8 of them. And then now I have my functions. Now the next thing that I need to do is to okay guys, I'm gonna just pause a little bit because I need to put my laptop on charge. Right, so my laptop is now charging. So we did everything up to this point, guys. So I mean, I'm just trying to catch up with what you did in class. So now the next thing that I want us to do is to decide now, based on the menu choices that the user would select, we want to call any of these functions. So I'm going to test what is stored in selected. So I'm going to go, if selected is equal to 1, then I want to call the function to do with add. Then I'll say otherwise. So I'll say if selection or selected is equal to 2, then I'm going to call the subtract function. Then I'll repeat this. So I'll just, okay, I'll type it faster. And if the next one is what? 3 was divide, I think. It is selected is equal to 3, then you call divide. And then if selected is equal to 4, then I'm going to call multiply. Then if selected is equal to 5, then I'm going to call what was 5? Square root. And then if selected is equal to 6, then I'm going to call the area or the exponential. And then if selected is equal to 7, then I'll call the square root. Okay, no, the square root is called. I'll call the area. So I'll just say area, and then if selected is 8, then I'm gonna call the perimeter. And then otherwise, if it's none of these options, I'm gonna print on the screen for the person to be notified that you have entered or you have selected an invalid operation. Okay, you have selected an invalid operation and we want the person to give us the correct operation. So let's spell operations correctly. And okay, so let's say please enter the correct operation, and we'll give them an opportunity to enter that, and then we'll put the numbers again, 1, 2. Ideally, what we could do is to avoid typing too much here. Just select this same statement that you have here, and then just say, okay, you have entered an invalid operation. Please, okay. So I'm gonna call the menu. I think we did this. I'm gonna call the menu so that after they enter an invalid operation, and then I can ask them to maybe to press enter to continue. I'll just say input and then do this, and I'll say press enter, press enter to continue. And then I'm going to call the menu, and then after the menu is called, then I'm going to call the operation to collect these values. So guys, I don't need this. So once I call the menu, they will be given an opportunity to press the enter on the keyboard to continue. So let's run this, guys, and let's test the last part. So enter an operation to operation. So I'll say I enter 9. Then it says you have selected an invalid operation. Press enter to continue. Hit enter, and then the menu is called again. And then now, if they call 8, then nothing should happen, okay? Because we haven't yet coded what should happen inside these operations there. So our menu is working perfectly. We are able to select the items from the menu, and then if any invalid option is entered, then we are going to give them this message that it is invalid, and then we'll ask them to, and we'll bring back the menu again, and we'll ask them to enter the values, okay? So this is fine. So now, guys, what I want us to do now is to create the menu operations for, rather the functionality for these functions here. What I want the function add to do is that when the person gives me or selects that they want to, they select option 1, and then when I call the function add, I'm just going to ask them to, input the numbers that they want to add, and then I'll get the numbers and then add them and give them back the result. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So what I'll do is to create here. Maybe let's do with parameter passing. So let's have two numbers that we're going to add. So let's get num1. Let's just call it num1 and num2. And then these two numbers will be added. So I would say the result is going to be num1 plus num2. Okay, and then I don't want to use so many. I don't want to use so many. What do you call that? I don't want to use so many print statements. So I'm going to skip that. I'll just say return result. So this is now a function, and its job is just to receive two numbers, add them, and then come up with the result, and then pass out the result. And I'm going to print the result at the end when the function is called. Okay. Next, I want to do the same for this other one. So I'm going to copy the inside part of this and do it for subtract, and I'll just change this to minus, and then I'll get two numbers, num1 minus num2. Why am I subtracting there? Minus num2, and then this also is just going to return the result, and I'll do the same for the divide. So guys, I'm trying to save time on this. You have to be smart as a computer scientist. You don't have to type everything. Where you can reuse the code, simply just reuse the code. So that is done, and I'm going to do this for this one, and I'll make this multiply, and I'll set this as num1 multiplied by num2, and then also for square root. Now for square root, it's a little bit different. What I want is to get a number and then raise it to the power of the other number. This is for exponential, sorry. The square root, what I want to do is to get a number and find the root of the other number. Let's see how this one is going to work out. Let me just get one number and find the square root of that number. Okay, I'll just get a number such as num, and then I need to find the square root of that. But I don't have the a symbol like this symbol for use for square roots in programming. So I need to import at the start of the program. I need to import some library to allow me to use the square root. So I'll say import the math library. So import math, and then from here, that's when I'm going now to call the square root. So I'll just say square root. I'll just say result. Let's come with result is equal to the square root. Let's see, result equal to math dot square root. Okay, like that, and then square root of the number, and then I'll return the number. Okay, return result. All right, so that's the square root. Then for exponential, again, it's the same. I'll take two numbers. I'll take the first number, comma, the second number. So let's call it num1, num2. And then what I'm going to do is to find the result is equal to the math.power, and then I'll take the first number raised to the second number. Okay, first number raised to the power of the second number, and then I'll return the result. So to return is just basically to pass the result outside, so that outside this function exponential we can use the value. Then for area, I'm going to call the number num1, or let's call it as length, and then let's call it as breadth, and then I'm going to just find the result for the area is equal to, I'll just say the result for the area is what? Is the length multiplied by the breadth. Now, again, it just depends with what area you're trying to find. Then the circle, we need what? To find the perimeter of a circle is 2 pi r for the circle, I think 2 pi r or 2 pi d. So I need something. So I need a constant value called pi. So I'll just say pi is equal to 3.142 maybe. And then I need to pass the radius. So I'll pass the radius here. And then I need to say the perimeter. Okay, so let's just say result. The result is equal to 2 times, so it's 2 pi r. So 2 times pi times the radius. Okay, so that's the perimeter of this circle. Okay, so now guys, we have all these values readily available. So we just now need to decide when we call an operation, what should we do? So for example, if we call add, we need to ask the user to give us 2 numbers. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I need to figure out, guys, there are 2 places where I'm collecting 2 numbers. Or rather not 2 numbers, but I'm collecting 3 numbers. So let's see. I'm going to pass to the add, I'm going to pass num1 or num, comma, num2, num1, comma, num2. But I don't have these numbers yet. So let's collect these numbers from the user. When they select an operation and it is valid, so I'll just say, okay, here, input, I'm going to input the first number. I'll just say, please enter the first number. Okay, and then I'm going to get this first number as num1 equal to that. And then also I'll get this num2 equal to input. And then let's say, please enter the second number. Okay, now we have this. Then what I'm gonna do is just convert this into an integer and convert this one also into an integer. So guys, this is basically what we'll do, and then pass this here, and then I'll put this in a print statement, and I'll just say print the result is like that. Okay, print add that. So what I'm doing is just the value that is returned by add, then I'll put it in, I'll print it. Okay, or what I can do is, if I don't want to print it this way, I can just say, okay, I'll get the result and store it in total, and I'll say total equal to this, add like that, and then I'll say print the sum is, and then I'll put this value and then bring in total. Okay, so guys, I'm going to copy this for the rest of the programs. So I'm just going to put here like that, and then there's the first number here. I'll change to subtract, and then this is the difference is, and then I'll put this one, I'll change this to difference. Okay, and then I'll change this to difference as well. So this is done, and then I'll go to the next one, divide. Again, I'm just going to get 2 numbers and then pass the 2 numbers to the divide function, and then I'm going to get this as quotient, and then I'm going to print this as the quotient. Okay, and then I'll say the quotient is, and then the result is quotient. So do the same for the other ones, guys. Multiply, I'll get 2 numbers, and I'll call this as my product, and then I'll call this as product as well, and then I'll change this to multiply. That is okay. Then next I'm going to call the square root. So the square root is just taking one number, so I'll call that as, just say, please enter the number to square, and then they'll give me the number, and then I'll get whatever that number is, and I'll call the square function, the square root function. Then I'll print this is the square root, I'll call it sqrt, and I'll call this as sqrt as well, square root. And I'll say the square root is, and then that is the square root. Then this is done. Then the next one is exponential. Again, I'm going to paste this like that. Exponential takes in two numbers. So I'll call this as exp, and I'll call the exponential function, give it two numbers, and then it will calculate and store the result in exp, or pass out the result to exp, and I'll say the exponential is, and then I'll call exp like that. So guys, this is also done. Then finally the area, I'm going to collect the length and the breadth for that one. So I'll say please enter the length. And then also here I'm going to say please enter the breadth. And then we have this, and then here I'll pass these two numbers, and then here I'll get a variable called area, and I'll print here as area, and then I'll say the area is area. Okay, and then finally guys, I'm gonna bring in the perimeter. So here let me just avoid using this because it's the name of the function. So I'm gonna call it maybe something like calculated area. Let's go calc area, and then I'm going to change this to area like that, and then let's call this, and then let's seem to call calculate area like that. Okay, so this one says that what area doesn't return anything. Okay, so I didn't return anything in area, so let's go to area and let's return area. So just say return return result, and then the next one also return result, return result. Okay, all right guys, so this is almost done. So the next thing that we need to do is to just copy this and put it also for the perimeter. So I'm going to paste it for the perimeter, and we are getting the radius, so please enter the radius of the circle. Okay, and then once we get the radius, it's the only thing we need. I'll pass the radius to the perimeter function, and I'll pass the radius as num1, and then total is there, so I'll say perimeter calc perimeter, and then I'll bring in the calculated perimeter like that, and I'll say the perimeter is, and then calculated perimeter. Okay, so guys, this is done. You guys now can run this and then try it out at a point to see if it will calculate that. So I'll go for the add, and then enter the first number 12, enter the second number 14, and then the result is 36. You try out for the rest of them and tell me what you think. All right, see you.